This is episode 37, and today I want to ask you the question, do you love your voice? Welcome to Freya Singing Tips, the podcast. My name is Freya Casey, professional singer and vocal coach. I have been on stage my whole life, and I'm passionate about helping you discover the awesomeness in your own voice. Opera, musical theater, jazz, pop, folk, rock, I have done it all. And I want to give you golden nuggets of advice on how to be the master of your voice. I hope you've had wonderful holidays, that you spent a wonderful and amazing time with your family, and you listened to wonderful music. I love the time of the holidays, but the holidays are over. New Year's Eve is still ahead of us, but I wanted to ask you a question. Do you love your voice? Looking back at this past year, I realized that even among my students and among everybody who has commented on YouTube and all the people that I've worked with online and everybody in my Facebook group, there has been this theme kind of like, how do I make my voice better? I don't like the sound of it. I feel terrible when I sing and I just don't like it at all. I don't like the way it feels. I don't like the way it sounds. And it sounds horrible when I do this or that. And I think a really important part of being a great and awesome singer is actually that you need to learn to love your voice. I know it is not always easy because you hear your shortcomings and you hear all the things that are not perfect, and there will always be things that are not perfect. However, I think it is very important that you literally fall in love with your voice. Whenever you fall in love with a person, you know what that feels like. You have those... you just kind of have those pink glasses on and you see everything in this shade of pink and everything is wonderful, and you don't even see all the negative sides of that person, which of course every person has negative sides. Everybody has things that they do that are gonna get on your nerves sooner or later. However, when you are just newly in love, you just don't see those things. You see the beautiful things about the person, and everybody does have beautiful things about them. You see the positive. You just kind of inhale how that person makes you feel when you're with them, and you have this rush of hormones, and it just feels good. You kind of get addicted to that person. You get addicted to that feeling. And what I want you to think about is trying to get into that same feeling when you are listening to your own voice and when you're singing. And I think a very important key to that is actually to record yourself. But the very important thing is not to just record yourself dry in a room, but to actually make good recordings. Now, one very easy and simple way to make better than just dry recordings would be to use Smule, that app, S-M-U-L-E. It's an app, it's for free, and you can download that on your cell phone or something. And you can sing along. There's a lot of karaoke tracks. You can sing with them, record yourself, and what it will do, it will add some reverb. However, that's a great way to not sound dry, and it sounds a little bit better than just singing into the room. It's just still not great quality unless you have a good mic to hook up to that. And what I always suggest, there's a great way to hook up a really good mic into your phone. You can use the iRig. You can Google that. It's called iRig, I-R-I-G. And there's different models. I have this really simple one. It's called the iRig Pre. And that is a very small box. It has just one small jack that you're going to plug into your phone, and it has another one in which you can, it's a XLR, and most pretty decent mics, they have an XLR. So all you would need is a decent mic, an XLR cable, and the iRig, and you can plug it directly into your phone. And then when you use Smule as an app, then you could just make it sound so much better. Even a better way is to hook that one up into your laptop if you have a good mic, but there's also USB mics. You may want to use just a USB mic, a decent one, a studio mic. A condenser one is good, or a dynamic one is okay. And then download the free app Audacity, and you can then make really great recordings and add reverb, a compressor, and that is a really good way. Believe me, recording yourself dry in the room sounds horrible. I mean, you could put any singer there, it's not going to sound as great as any recording. The reason why any recording that you buy in the store or like that you download on iTunes or anything sounds so great is just because it was recorded in a studio with a great, excellent mic, and the singer was very close to the mic. Just like I am close right now, my voice sounds very warm and you can hear me close up. And when I back up, kind of like this, it's not going to sound that pretty. If I back up even more like this, it's not going to sound pretty when you sing like this. I am singing now. Versus when I get close, I am singing now. It's the same voice, but it sounds totally different. It makes a huge difference in equipment. Just getting close to a mic and adding a little bit of reverb, which I just now didn't have. But just think about it. I think that is one excellent way to fall in love with your voice. Because when you hear recordings like that, where you're really close to the mic and you can hear all the nuances of your voice, you also hear the beautiful voice colors. You don't only hear the technicalities that, maybe you didn't breathe right or you didn't hit that pitch. You hear the actual nice voice color. And I think that is a very important thing to really finding your natural and your comfortable voice color, is to realize, where does it sound great and where does it feel easy for me? Where's my natural voice color to where I don't feel like I have to push anything around, I don't have to push the larynx down or anything, or I'm not trying to imitate another singer. That brings us to the next point. You have to learn to not want to sound like anybody else. As long as you have this thing in your mind, you have this sound in your mind, very much stuck in it, that you're trying to sound like, you probably have that wonderful singer that you totally adore and love, and he or she is awesome, and you totally want to sound like that person. However, you're never going to be happy trying to sound like that person because you never will. But on the other hand, the other side of the, flip the coin, it is that person, that singer, that very successful singer is never going to sound like you. They're not successful because they sound like anybody else. They're successful because they are loving the way they sound and they found a way to really build on what they're good at. And that's what I want you to try to think to do, is to try to find out what is it that you're really good at. Where are your most beautiful voice colors and where are those nuances? Where does your voice sound nice and brilliant and warm? And where's the most beautiful sound? In what range? And that determines how you should sing, actually. And I think that's always in the more natural, like in the natural voice. Whenever you try to push around your voice into anything, like even stylistically, that your voice isn't naturally. Like, for example, if you're someone who really adores Christina Aguilera, and she is an awesome singer, but if you try to imitate exactly what she does and you're not actually someone who is very good at doing a lot of ad-libs, it's going to be very hard for you and you're going to be so frustrated just because it's always going to be hard for you to sound just like her because her trademark is doing tons of ad-libs. So you may want to think about that. Is that really my strength? And while you can learn a lot by practicing that and getting better at ad-libbing, you should always work on things that you're not good at yet. However, you should also respect what you're good at naturally, because that's going to be your bread and butter, literally. Like for me too, I do sing rock and I do sing high energy songs, but singing AC/DC is never going to be my bread and butter because that is not where the beauty of my voice lies. The beauty of my voice really comes out a lot more when I sing soft ballads. That's where the warmth of my voice comes out. That's what I'm good at, and that's where the most beautiful colors come out. So I know that, and while I do sing pretty much everything, I know what's my bread and butter, and I know what's going to bring in the money. That's going to please people most. Like when I sing musical theater, when I sing classical, I know because I'm trained in that, and that's what I'm really, really good at. I'm so good at it that people just want to hear more. Even if they are not into opera, they still want to hear me sing opera because it's amazing to them how I do that. So I know that. And that's why I build on my strengths. That's my strength. I will do a concert and do a bunch of songs, all kinds of different things. And then I will pull out the gold and present it and sing that high opera aria. And then everybody is totally amazed at, wow, she did all that and now she's doing this. This is totally amazing. I've never heard anybody do that like that. Knowing that really helps me make a lot of money just because I don't know anybody else who does exactly the thing that I do. And that's what you need to try to learn. Where is your strength? Build on that strength. And then, of course, always work on the things that aren't your strength. But just don't try to do ad-libs if that's your weakest point. And also, if high belting is hard for you, well, don't always just sing songs where you have to do high belting. You can do it occasionally and practice, but it's not going to be your best. Try to find out what you love most about your voice, and I promise you, that's what your audience is going to love most. The thing is, if you don't love what you're doing, your audience is not going to love it. It is so important that you appreciate your voice and that you are loving it. Now, first of all, people notice it because the minute or the second you think, ooh, that sounded horrible what I just did. First of all, it reflects in your voice because you're not as secure anymore and you have these insecurities. That totally reflects. You're not taking risks anymore when you sing, and then you don't really use as many voice colors anymore. It's kind of like a snowball effect. The minute you get insecure on stage, or like it totally reflects in your voice. But not only does it reflect in your voice, but also in your facial expressions, in your body posture. And that again, in turn, is going to affect your voice. I have talked about power poses, and that helps sometimes. When you are very confident on stage, having the body posture of confidence, that'll really help your voice too, because a confident voice totally sounds different from a voice that is kind of insecure, because you have more body tension, you breathe more deeply when you are secure, when you're confident, you have better support. It's amazing. The psyche is it's such a big part of singing, so never forget that. So loving your voice is such an important aspect, and unfortunately, I meet singers again and again who actually have a great voice and a very beautiful voice. However, they are so insecure and they're like, oh, I'm hating it, I don't like it. But that's the problem. The problem isn't the voice. I mean, those are some small issues that can be fixed, maybe not quickly, but pretty easily over time. However, the general color of your voice, you're not going to change that. So if you're always wanting to be someone else, always you want that different voice, but that's not your voice. It's like there are some people who are built to be very, very slim and thin. And then there are some people, I mean, I'm not fat, but I'm not extremely thin. And I'm never going to have this extremely flat abs or something like that. I'm just not going to have it unless I'm going to kill myself, and I don't want to do that. That's not my body type. My body type is just average and normal. That's what I think anyway. So I'm not pushing myself to be something that I'm not. And so your voice, don't push yourself into something that you're never going to be. You're going to be so frustrated and you're going to hate it. And you're always going to think your voice doesn't sound good. Just because you're having this thing in mind, you're imagining yourself as something that you're never going to be. So become friends with your voice and start to fall in love with it for what it actually really is. And then put in the work to work on those technical things. If your pitch isn't that great, work on better intonation. If you are having problems singing higher, then work on that. However, know where your strengths are and know what's beautiful. I think it's so important. Alrighty, that's it for today, but I wanted to announce one more really exciting thing. I have thought about it, and I have coached so many people over the past year, even online too. I was thinking about how can I share this with you guys, with everybody who's listening and watching. How can I share those coaching sessions to where you can really learn? I'm having the masterclass that is in session that's going to start in January. There was one, and there's the next session starting in January. That class is filled up right now. So that's going to go on for 3 months. And there's going to be a lot of coachings there. However, it's only a small group. There's only 8 people in there. And I thought, how can I share those coaching sessions? Because I think everybody can benefit a lot from just listening into a coaching session. So I decided to do kind of like a series with an on-air coaching call, meaning that you can apply and I will coach you. what will happen is that we're going to schedule a session together. We're going to have about a 30-minute coaching session. We're going to talk about, it can be about a technical issue that we're going to tackle. It could be about a mindset issue, about a confidence issue, or about a business issue, even in the, marketing yourself as a singer and actually starting to make money. It could be about anything. The level doesn't matter. You could be a beginner. You could be a professional. You could be someone gigging with a band. You could be someone in a choir who wants to sing a solo. You could be someone in a choir who's not singing a solo. The level doesn't matter. All that matters to me is that I'm working with someone who's very open, who wants to work with me and who wants to tackle something and begin to see some change, to actually feel good about yourself, like I said, to start falling in love with your voice more and more every day. So in order to do that, you can go to my website, freyasingingtips.com, always with a hyphen. And then it's going to be /air coaching call. Well, I'm going to put the link in the show notes and it will also be here below. And then you can just go on the page, fill out the application, and I will see if you're a fit. That's great. I'm so looking forward. So what I want to do is actually do a coaching session in mutual agreement. We're going to decide afterwards if we're going to actually air this either right here over my podcast or even via my YouTube channel, which there's a lot more viewers there. However, we're just going to talk about the equipment that you need, and I actually have some infos on the webpage there. But we're going to talk about the technical side. We're going to get it to work, so don't worry about it. If you have a halfway decent smartphone, then this is totally going to work. And I would be so excited to work with you. Now, first of all, I want to get to know more people. Like, I want to get to know you. I want to know what your problems are. I want to know what you're struggling with. And then I want to help you. And I want these sessions to benefit more people because probably I'm going to pick some issues that I think a lot of people are struggling with because I'm always getting the same questions. And I think it's so much easier to explain or to learn something when you actually hear it practically applied. So whenever somebody has an issue and we actually work it out over the session, and we do some practical exercises that go with it. It is a lot. The learning effect is so much greater than just explaining something in theory. So that's why I wanted to do that and and also I want to showcase some of you guys because I know there are some wonderful singers out there in the Facebook group. Definitely. I'm totally amazed at all the talent that's there. And so I want everybody to see what people around the world are doing and also to identify with you. It's like, I know we're all in the same boat and there's not one person who is just this amazing singer and they absolutely have nothing that they're struggling with. On the other hand, even if there's someone who's a beginner, there is beauty in the voice. There are things that are the strength, and I want to find those strengths in your voice. So go ahead and apply. I'm so looking forward to working with some of you and I want to hear from you. So don't forget to apply. Like I said, my Facebook group, it is such an amazing group. If you are not in the private Facebook group yet, you have to join. It is amazing. It's called Master Your Voice with Freya. Just search it on Facebook and you'll find it. And we share a lot of things. Every Thursday, everybody is allowed to post an audio or video of themselves singing and we comment. You can also just post and ask for help for any issues that you may have. And it's an amazing and very supportive group. I just totally love it. And also it gives me a chance to get to know you better. It gives me a lot of material that on my YouTube videos and podcasts that I can talk about. I'm getting so many ideas just from the group. Sometimes I answer in a live video on Facebook just because it is very hard to explain something. So that is a great way to connect for us. Thank you guys so much for listening today. I'm wishing you a wonderful last few days of this year. And let me just tell you, there's great things ahead. So stay tuned. There are going to be some great announcements. Until then, don't forget, always keep a song in your heart and always keep on singing. Bye now.